You're listening to Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant.
And just like that, we are back. What's up? Kel here, Marcus Trufant, Jessica Trufant. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Truly Unruly podcast. Trufant, how are you guys doing?
Doing great.
We're doing good.
Great. Doing good.
Doing
good.
Good.
Today's conversation, I think, is going to be quite interesting because I think this is something that us as Black folks, but just people in general, this happens a lot in our community. It's oversharing your relationship. So I want to ask you guys before we even get started. I'll ask you first, Marcus. Do you have someone, I don't know, friend, family member that you tell everything to? Things that you shouldn't even be telling them. But do you have that person in your life?
By nature, I'm kind of a
Recluse?
assassin, Jason Bourne type of guy, right? What's the type of technique that they use against people when they dump them upside down, put the cape over them, put the water as a waterboarding?
Waterboarding?
Yeah, so you would have to do that to
Torture?
me to really get out all the information that I hold here. But the closest I get is my wife, but like friends and family and stuff like that, we share, but not like it's on a regular basis and not the most intimate things. And that's just me. I actually think it's a flaw, kind of, that I'm not as it takes work and I really have to force myself when it comes to sharing.
Hard nut to crack. So where's
Facts.
the bucket so I can dump his head in, waterboard you, so you share a little bit more with me?
Just be patient. I just say, just be patient with me. Just work with me.
I have been for hella. Okay.
But there's no one, like, when it comes to, let's say, when you and Jess might be having issues, there's not someone that you call up and be like, damn, man, this girl's tripping. Like, you don't have that person, is what you're saying, correct?
No, actually I don't. And I don't necessarily feel like I need that person. And again, I could be wrong and maybe that is a flaw, but I'm a self-healer. I'm a self-handler by nature. That's just how I rock, I guess. So I don't know. I guess we'll let the people tell me if that's a good thing or bad thing, because I really don't know. So
It's a great thing coming from another man.
Self-healer.
Self-healer.
I handle myself well.
Well, at the end of the day, no other person's going to heal you but yourself. So.
Right. Yep. It can't nobody save me, right?
Yeah, but
so
sometimes talking, sharing is therapy. You never know when you share something, what you might get from somebody else, what advice you might receive, even though half the time you're probably like, I didn't ask for your fucking opinion, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it can be therapeutic to share and to release that, because when you hold all of those things in, like men, especially African-American men, tend to do, guess what? You die early. All right.
What about you, Jess? Is there someone that you confine in, or do you have a group of homegirls that you guys sit around and talk about how these niggas ain't shit?
Maybe 15 years ago, I was like that, but I don't know. Sometimes I share things and I just feel inspired to share, but I like to keep stuff to myself now. I don't know. I do share certain things with my mom at times. I really only share what I want you to know, especially when it comes to our relationship. I don't think I should be going around bad-mouthing Marcus every 5 seconds, even though in my head I'm like, God damn it. This dude.
Damn.
But yeah, no, I'm not like that.
Marcus, do you beg to differ?
Not so much that I beg to differ, but I'm not, I understand that most relationships when it comes to men and women are different. Like the group of fellas aren't going to go out on a guy's night, and sit down first.
Maybe not your group.
In some situations, right. Yeah, but it's different conversations. It's not about our most intimate feelings all the time. It can be, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that is okay, but the conversations are different. Girls, in most cases, are looking to
For
support each
validation, for
other.
support.
Yeah, they help each other. Guys, in some cases, are doing the same thing, but it's just, I don't even know exactly how to put my finger on it, but it's not the same type of conversations. And most guys aren't comfortable enough amongst their friends to talk about the stuff that really hurts them or the things that they're really sad about or they're really uncomfortable
so you guys
about.
have the tough guy gender role.
Not that is it,
complex.
that's a part of it, but we don't have the practice. Women have been doing it since they were young girls with their Barbies. They've been imagining these conversations.
Gosh.
They've been practicing this stuff, right? Guys have not had that practice. We don't have the background, and that's part of the problem.
Well, and as I've gotten older, I think it's a reciprocal thing. I'm not sharing intimate details about my relationship, about my feelings, about what's going on, if you're not sharing them with me at this point. Before, didn't care. It's like, oh, let me vent to whatever. And they didn't have to say anything. But now, stuff like that, you have to be careful who you share with and what type of, you just have to be careful. So my thing is, it's reciprocal. And if you're not sharing with me, I'm not sharing with you. Or I'm only sharing what I want to share and not really getting deep. I don't really get deep with, I don't know.
Maybe I don't share because you talked about, or you said something, I guess, that made me think of fear, though. Maybe I haven't shared or I don't share, Kale, because I'm fearful that it could be thrown back in my face or it could be used against me or somebody might look at me differently, right? So in order to protect me, to protect my relationship.
You're perfect, though. He doesn't want to share out of fear of people being like, your wife is a crazy bitch.
Nah, but it's just crazy for me. It's crazy enough for me, and I love the crazy. So that's how we work. But yeah, man, I don't know. This is one of those conversations, those shows. I feel like I gotta phone a friend or something. I'm out of my league a little bit.
And it really depends on what you consider like private and intimate, because I do share a lot, but there are some things that
some people aren't, though. A lot of people in relationships, they overshare and they're looking for validation, or they want the girls or you want the homies to be able to be on your side if you're in an argument or you're going through something like that. They're looking for, I don't know.
Well, Marcus, it's interesting you say that, because experts say that oversharing often happens when we're trying to subconsciously control our own anxiety. The effort is known as self-regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how it works. We are having a conversation. We can use up a lot of mental energy trying to manage the other person's impression of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
and in most cases, from my experience, all cases, when the person that is telling the story is usually one-sided, like in their favor, coming from their perspective. And the person that's listening, like if I put myself in those shoes, they don't get the privilege of hearing the other side. So I don't even really try to give too much input if I'm put into that situation, because I know there's always the other side, and we just got to be careful before we judge and throw our...
What did we talk about? We judge. It does not matter. Stop.
That'll get you in trouble, though, especially in a relationship, though. If you're judging a person, okay, I'm the guy and I'm coming to you, I'm just venting, right? Because my girl or whatever ain't doing what I think she's supposed to do, and I'm telling you, and it's a one-sided story, then you give me advice, I take that advice, but you didn't have the whole situation. So how can
Everything is
you
subjective,
give
so
a
it doesn't-
proper assessment of the story and you don't have both sides? But that's just me. That's how I
I
think.
can draw a conclusion from just that's me personally. I can just draw a conclusion. And
Because
some
you're all
people-
seeing and all knowing, right?
So, 5 ways you're oversharing about your relationship and how to stop it. So, the first one, you could be breaking your partner's trust. Unless you've received, this is kind of what you said, Jess. Unless you've received your partner's permission, it's best not to assume that they would be comfortable with others knowing private information about them. What you may think is cute or funny about your partner's life can be very embarrassing for them if shared with others. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But like, what couple actually sits down though and says like, hey, is it okay if I can like, go talk to people about this? Like, I don't think people actually do that though, right? You just kind of know, you're like, they're a little insecure about that. Maybe I shouldn't bring that shit up.
Right. It's like an unspoken rule. You should know you don't do that. And I think a lot of people share and overshare because they feel like they're connecting with you somehow, or you can connect that way and you're like, oh God, my dude's a piece of shit. And they're like waiting for you to be like, yeah, mine
Sympathy?
too. Yes. But I'm like, no, my guy's not a piece of shit. So
Right. And the next one, we've talked about this too. Details your friends don't need to know. So what happens behind bedroom doors should stay between you and your partner. Talking about your partner's kinks or sharing commentary about their sexual performance can be breaking confidence. Without consent, discussing the specifics of your sex life, this should be a no-no. This information is so personal and potentially loaded with shame that it's best kept between you and your partner and potentially a therapist.
Well, if sex wasn't such a taboo subject, everybody would be talking about it and sharing it and doing all that kind of stuff. Now, my friends and I, we do talk about that. That is the one thing that we will talk about, and not in great detail, right? But we will. Yes, we will talk about that. That is casual conversation. That is something that happens. Everybody has sex. And, right? Maybe you guys don't do it, but it's casual
Marcus, are you
conversation.
okay with that?
I assumed, and like I said, men and women are different. In my circles, at least, we don't so much discuss, what's going on between us and our wives in the bedroom in detail like that. We talk about our thirst and this and stuff. It is more funny stuff, but I would assume that in the ladies' situation, it's a little bit more graphic, a little bit more.
It's just different. I mean,
Right.
You guys are sending pictures of other women in your group chat and shit, and like,
but the mains is off limits though.
Like big booties,
And
so that's their way of doing it.
That's an understood
even though it's
thing.
not about me. But that's why you don't
It's
need
an
to talk about
understood
me, because you
thing.
guys have plenty of other shit to talk about.
Before we move on, Kale, let's not act like women chat groups aren't sending stuff as well. Let's not do that and paint the picture that it's only guys doing that.
Well, because we talk in person about it, and
Okay.
you guys send chats about all this kind of stuff, and then you guys might discuss that. So it's just different.
But what I would say to that,
What?
just on the other side of it though. So, and you guys, women's folks.
Oh God, he keeps trying to bring it back.
Nah, because
Deflect.
No, I'm not deflecting, because I said that we don't do that though. We may, joke and laugh about other stuff, but we don't. There's a line that is drawn that's off limits.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you said, why would I do that to my group of boys? Why would I volunteer that type of information? That's for me and you. There's a line that is drawn.
Right, but it also depends really on the type of, like I said, it's reciprocal, and it's the type of your background and the type of relationship you have with your friends. right?
And even your
And
spouse,
you
too.
already said that you don't really share at all. And I think that is true of all the people you interact with. You guys are very surface level. You guys might talk about deep stuff that's not even pertaining to your relationship or anything, but do you? Maybe a little bit, but we can get really deep and we have some really intense conversations and it's on a regular basis. You guys don't have that. You guys are like, should we get together? And it never happens.
Jess is all knowing and has so much background of what we talk about. And she has never, or she's maybe been in a room with us when we're having those kind of conversations once or twice. But you are all knowing and you're telling me exactly what we're talking about and how we do it. That is pretty funny.
I am not all knowing, but I know you.
Okay, well, you know me.
I'm not all knowing, but I
and
know
again,
him.
What's good
Oh,
for...
no, Kel. You know what they're getting really fucking deep about? Business. That's where they really get down to the details and fucking cream in their pants and shit. That's what that is. So fuck every other detail.
Right.
Let's talk business because that's what we do.
Hey, somebody got to put the food on the table. God damn it! No,
I know it is. I mean, it's hilarious. Part of it's true, but we like what we like. Men and women are different. Our group, we like a certain type of conversation. We don't have to get all into our feelings and talk a bunch of deep stuff every time. Is that fun? Not all the time. Maybe that's fun to you guys.
Well, then how can you have a true, deep connection or relationship with somebody when you don't? I'm not talking about share all your business. But when you don't go there, I don't feel. I was friends with somebody for a while, right? And for a while. And I think I might have overshared with her. And this is before I was a little bit older.
I'm not surprised that you overshared because you're verbally in shape. I'll just say that.
What the fuck does that mean?
That your mouth is everlasting. It's like a marathon runner, right? But
I'm going to use that.
Carry on.
Your mouth's in shape. I like that.
My mouth is in shape.
Yes. Sounds nasty. But
I was going to say, so you're giving out details right now? Okay, so anyway. But after years, I realized that I don't even know this person. We had shared some things, but we had never really had a type of emotion. And I'm not talking about boo-hooing together because I don't do that. But there was no deepness. It was pretty much one-sided. But just over time, over years, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know very much about this person.
I got one more thing to say, Kel, just about the differences. And you talk about sharing and you're talking about
sharing
being
is caring.
Surface level. And for me and my group, my guys, we go way back, right? So we don't need to really talk our way through it. We've seen how each other move. We've been in situations and we really do know each other. So it's almost, if you guys have to come out and say exactly what you guys are feeling and thinking, then I would say that you guys are a little surface. If we really know each other and we know, okay, that I'm with my dude, I don't even have to ask because I know.
That's why you guys don't go to therapy. That's why you guys harbor all this shit and your fucking hearts explode and shit. That's why. So go ahead. Oh, we know each other. First of all, we change. We evolve.
We do.
Right? And the way to connect with people is to talk to people more than just, yeah, man, on social media, business, blah, 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 blah. So
that's what we sound like?
I don't know, but I beg to differ on what you're saying. Like, oh, I've known him from way back, I don't need to share anything.
I share, but it's not like I gotta go. I don't have to go digging.
Well, then who do you share anything? Back to Kel's first question. Who do you share anything with? Like, what if you like something is eating you alive. You can't even, I'm going to share it.
We do share though. Everybody's been going through a lot these last couple of years, right? So we share. It
takes the pandemic to share?
In group threads and different things like that, but it's a different type of sharing. And we already know each other, right? So it's a little bit different. And I have a different type of group. Some of us in our group have been knowing each other since elementary school.
So
you know what I'm saying?
But I still don't get it.
All right. So the next one is your partner's history of trauma. You may be tempted to tell all your friends and family about abuse or other trauma your partner has endured, perhaps to help them better understand your partner's behavior, or because you're looking for an outlet to talk about it. But remember, this is a very sensitive subject, and revealing this information could be a violation of your partner's trust. Your partner's trauma stories are not yours to share.
I don't know. Sometimes it might be, you don't have to go into, great detail. We keep talking about going into details, but sometimes, especially if it's your friend, your longtime friend and whatever, you might I think it's okay to say that to your friend in confidence, even though it's never really in confidence. I don't think there's anything. It just depends on what it is. Now, I'm not going to go say, yeah, he was raped 16 times and all this kind of stuff, so that's why he is the way he is. But right. I think there are things that they should be shared. They should be shared. Stuff like that, sometimes it should be shared.
I think it depends on what your partner is comfortable with. If we've already had this conversation and you've been in situations to where your partner has came out and talked to groups, in front of the groups, in front of the friends group, or against, or just in front of anybody, right? And talked about certain things, talked about his trauma, and he's comfortable being open with that, I think a part of that is okay to tell the group if that fits into that. If it makes sense. Okay.
If it makes sense.
We're talking about trauma, this certain type of trauma, and this comes up. Okay, well, yeah, my wife or my husband has been through this, and this is what happened, type of thing. And I think that's okay.
But don't use it as an excuse or as a weapon, Right. So I agree.
Right.
I agree.
I think I just think it all depends on of what part of that journey that person is going through at that point and getting over whatever that trauma may be. Because, let's say if they're in like the middle of like therapy and they're still trying to like cope with this trauma that they might have kept, tucked in for X amount of time, I just don't think it's somebody else's place to put that out there, because the person is still struggling to try to even cope with living with what it is that they have to live with, because we've seen in our society, there's been a lot of, when people, a lot of scenarios where people have found out things about people and they're so embarrassed or they feel so ashamed, and 2 days later they've committed suicide, or they, what I'm saying, or something crazy like that. So that's why I just feel like, I'm not going to say crazy, but just something traumatic like that. So like, I feel like that's just one of those like really, really touchy things, because, we all know when it comes to trauma, that's a lot of the shit that shapes people on why they think a certain way they may think or believe certain things that they believe. So I just feel like I just feel like you gotta be just really sensitive with that. Now, if that person's trauma is now like affecting you and it's putting you in like a harmful situation, then absolutely you need to share and deal with it. Like, I feel like in this whole conversation, if you're in a situation where like your life is feeling threatened and you're like in an abusive or fucked up situation, you need to overshare. You need to share with people close to you and loved ones. They need to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
That's totally different.
That's different. That is definitely different. But if Marcus was in therapy I would not go to my friends and be like, you know what? That's different. Right. But like Marcus said, if it's already out, we've discussed it. You should be able, as their partner, to gauge what's appropriate, and to the person you're telling this to. And you don't tell it to everybody, right?
Right.
You just tell it to your best friend or whatever. And it gives them just a little bit more insight. And it's probably therapeutic to share that, because you're going through that with your partner at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's a fine line, though. There is definitely a fine line.
Definitely is, for sure. And then this is my favorite one. Last one. Certain relationship problems or infidelities can be a gray area. At your discretion, you may choose to talk through some relationship struggles with a few people in your inner circle. But is it fodder for an entire group chat? Probably not.
You got to tell somebody. Am I wrong?
It's based on the individual in that relationship. Some relationships can't handle coming out front and talking about things that are really going on in their relationships, and things are rocky. People want to put up this image and different stuff like that. So I think it's based on the individual, it's based on that relationship, but it can be good. And just like Jess said, it's therapeutic to talk through things, but right when it happens and out the gate, knee-jerk reactions, I would not advise confiding in anyone that's not a therapist. Maybe your closest mom,
anybody.
your brother, sister, but that's tough because that's when the judgment comes in. And then you're getting advice because people are on your side. And sometimes you just got to work through that thing, right? You got to work through it with your spouse, figure it out. And then if you need to call in reinforcements later, that's what you do. But that could be tough, though. That can definitely be tough. Sharing things that could really shock a relationship or break a relationship down to its core.
Right. But also to carry that load is tough too.
Right.
Yeah.
And not have, let's say you don't know about therapy or you don't know how to access a therapist. To carry that load is tough. So nope, you don't get in a whole group and be like, so guess what? But you need support. People need support. We share for support.
All support ain't good support, though.
All support isn't good support. And if my friend was like, hey, fuck that dude. Okay. Well, I'm still with them. So
or you're not with them and you go out and you try to get the get back and you do this and you do that and things, can quickly spiral out of control because of outside influence. And you know what I'm saying? So
right. So you got to be careful who you tell.
Very selective. You got to be very selective.
Right. But some people, you just can't keep that shit. Hold that. What, you going to hold that shit forever?
Some people do.
That's weird.
What do you guys think of those folks that are in those relationships where the husband, it's usually like the husband or the boyfriend is like a mama's boy and like tells his mom like everything and like every detail of like your relationship. I've had people in my own family, they'll sit there and they'll bring family members into shit, like people that don't got shit to do with shit, and just bring them in to certain disputes and stuff like that. And then it turns into a whole nother thing because now you have this other person who thinks that their opinion, it should be the opinion that both sides should be seeing. And it's like, you're a piece of shit also. So why the hell should we, right. Listen, you speak when I send for you. Like, why are you even involved in this? Right, you know what I'm saying? How do people in those situations, like, how do you deal with that?
When you pull people in, I think it's maybe you're desperate and you're upset, and it depends on when they pull people in. If it's immediate, it's probably a knee-jerk reaction, and I go call this, pull them all in, whatever. Or you need an advocate. You feel like your back's against the wall, and you do all that shit and pull everybody in. You better not ever do that.
I've already told you I'm a silent assassin, so I got this locked down. I'm good.
Right, and then have somebody else.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's just not
unhealthy.
It's unhealthy, but what else? How would I frame this up, right? Bringing in other people, doing all that kind of stuff. You set yourself up for failure, because sometimes it's okay to get advice, but you really got to dig deep, and you got to communicate with that person that you're trying to work things through first, right?
It's like, what's your motive for bringing other people in to the situation? What are you trying to achieve? So, I don't know.
So when you talked about conversations and bringing in other people, you, in most cases, can see something like this coming, right? You know your partner. It depends. If you've been in that relationship for some time, you know that this is the kind of energy that your partner gives. That's probably what they were doing as you were building this relationship.
You expect it to change, though, I think.
Sometimes you can't change. How's it go? A zebra stripes? Is that what it is?
Don't go run to your mama. You can... Y'all can be together then. Shit. You want to you can go back. Climb right back into her vag. I'm just saying.
Looking for proper advice. And if mama gives you that good advice, I would think there is a scenario where that may be able to work.
Tell her, mama.
No.
Tell her.
Not that type of situation. Go off and get a level-headed, type of have a level-headed conversation, maybe come back, okay, I've got some wisdom, spouse, so now I want to come back to you and I want to tell you this, I'm not seeing red anymore, I'm away from the knee jerk, so now let's come back and have an adult conversation.
Yes, I appreciate that, because a lot of the times your parents have wisdom and experience, so I do get that. But when you go tell your mama,
right,
and
mom always gonna be biased
and your cousin,
too. Right,
everything, and then they're ganging up or what?
Right,
I'll slap the fuck out of you, your mom, your sister, your brother.
And God forbid the mama or sisters didn't really like you in the first place.
That's what I'm saying.
This just gives them reason to just
right. So that's when I say I will slap the fuck out of all of them, line them up.
It's a bad situation. Like I said, you're setting yourself up for failure when you bring too many voices and too many outside stimuli in to the conversation, especially if it's a nasty situation, it's a bad situation. You talked about infidelity, Kel. It could be anything, arguments in a marriage. When you bring other people in, I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, and it just gets crazy.
Because we all know, for the most part, those dudes that are mama's boys, their mamas believe that there will never be a woman that's good enough for their son.
Right.
And that's in most cases.
Right.
Because...
And it doesn't build conflict solving skills when you go drag other people into your shit. You'll never fix anything doing that. That's fucking weird.
It's like you're right. Like you guys said earlier, it's like finding someone just to try to reinforce your point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you tried to argue your point to death. Well, let me go get my mama, because my mama believe me. My mama gonna, at the end of the day though, like, you're gonna let your mama dictate your relationship, or your sister or your cousin or whoever it may be. Like, like you said, go date them. Go be with them.
Bad look.
That's the case.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad look.
And then our last part is how to talk about your relationship without hurting your partner. It really comes down to having some honest conversations. We talk about that all the time here with your partner, in which you talk specifically about which elements of their life they're okay with you sharing and with whom. It's basically just have a conversation. But that is easier said than done, because I don't think even people can like do that. They're too scared to.
I think I've done that to you. Asked, is it okay? Have I?
I felt like you had.
Yeah,
that
to
sounds
share.
like you.
It's just kind of out of respect. Because, like, if you feel weird about it, then number one, maybe it shouldn't be shared. And number two, ask your partner how they feel about it. Would you feel comfortable if I said this? And if he says no, you share it anyway.
Right. I kind of got a different take. I feel like you should know your spouse, know your partner. Yes, it's okay to ask, but I shouldn't have to tell you. And you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be that excited or that moved to go out and share. Okay, is it okay? Just take a seat. You don't have to share it. Just listen for once. If somebody else got something to share or somebody else is going through something, just take a back seat. You don't have to have the room. So,
ooh,
that's just me.
That doesn't mean you were trying to have the room.
I know, but if you feel weird about it, if you're uneasy, then just like you said, don't
share it.
Yeah, in most situations, it's like, okay, I might just want to keep this just for me and
right,
me and my boo.
And I think in some relationships too, like people are kind of scared of having these kind of conversations with those honest conversations with their partner, because they're essentially afraid of how their partner is going to react.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God, you had to ask me that, and it's like, oh fuck. When you're trying to like, cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and it's like, ugh.
It backfires.
Right.
It backfires.
But in most cases, people are doing it anyway, so you'll never know. And people don't even ask, and they just do it in the girl groups, stays over on the girl side, and the men's conversation stays over on the men's side. It, in most cases, never crosses over.
When it all comes down to it, when we're having conversations, we might not even bring them up sometimes. It's like this. We are mostly talking about how fat we are, how fucking bad our kids are, how we need some sleep, we need a break, those things. Or we got a new kitchen appliance and somebody's like, oh my God, what brand is that? Because I've been looking. Those are the kinds of things that we talk about. We talk about everything. So it's not just about our partners and intimate details. No, I'm talking about what I had for breakfast and
that
how
stuff's
it
not
was.
shallow, because you just called the guys.
But we do all of it.
Level.
We do all of it, and
you
we
call
get
us shallow
deep
and surface
amongst us. It's not. It doesn't even have anything to do with you.
I know. I'm not even stating that, but you just said you guys don't talk about stuff that's really deep, and you guys just have a normal conversation.
Well, I'm saying we don't spend the majority of time talking about you guys and our when we talk about relationships, we spend
neither do we. And she
a
called
chunk of
us
time
trash and worthless earlier because we don't talk about our deepest feelings. We
don't talk about our deepest feelings, but we share things for support.
Yeah, we share, bounce ideas off each other, and
business.
What would you do in this situation of your relationship? I'm dealing with this, guys. This is what I'm dealing with the wife, man, and she's tripping. But it's not really.
That's funny. She's tripping,
And that's a broad statement. That covers everything. I was
going to say, that's like.
I don't have to go into detail. She's tripping.
And I'm like,
hey,
okay.
Keep fighting, brother. I get the emoji hands. I get the praying hands. I get the fist. And that's all I need. I'm like, thanks, guys. And I appreciate that.
No, there's a way to bring up a conflict without dragging your partner. There is.
I agree.
So I'm having a problem with my with my dude. So this happened. And, there's ways to kind of delicately tap dance around it.
I'm getting the
get the
silent
support.
treatment, LOL, or something like that. And then the guys come in,
And we're like, why?
Yeah. Nah.
So then you have to give a little detail. You can't just tell girls, he's giving me the silent treatment. Okay, so anyways, outside.
Girls pry. Because girls pry, and then what you do is if you don't tell them, they'll sit there and they'll go on social media and scroll past every post to see if there's some kind of subliminal post that has to do with it and investigate. I've been there before. Trust me, been there,
funny.
friend. You know what I'm saying?
Hilarious.
And that FBI shit. With women, with guys, we'll be like, oh, yeah, she's tripping. Okay, well, the girls, there's always, well, why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Well, why?
Then we turn it into
so
a
then
positive.
it gets,
and then what you gonna do about it? What are you gonna leave him? I think it's time.
See, y'all ain't shit.
All we say is there's nothing you can do about it, brother.
I know,
and you just
and
gotta
they're
get
like,
through it. Stay strong.
And then their conversation, and you know what? This is via text. It ain't even in person. We're talking in person a lot of the time.
You guys won't let us at the house. Stuck. Chained.
Where are you
to
going? Take one of them kids with you.
Hell yeah. Bring one. You're going to dinner with your friends. Can you take
I'd rather
Cassius with you?
stay home, Kel, than do that. I got 5 kids now, so no.
I got 2, and I'm like, I'll stay home.
Yeah, I'll just stay here. Yeah, you go with the girls. I got it.
It's fine. Right. Well, shoot, guys, this was a great episode. Great topic. Yeah, it was good stuff as usual. Marcus Trufant, Jessica Trufant. My name is Kel, of course. Follow us all on IG. Marcus _Trufant, Jessica _Trufant. I'm media _Kels. Follow the page. Truly Unruly _podcast. You can listen to us on your favorite podcasting channel. So we're on everything. So Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, everything. So of course, like, subscribe, review. You want to catch the visual, just search Marcus Trufant or Truly Unruly on YouTube. Catch us every Sunday on Converge. And I think that's it. I got everything right.
Got it in. Yep.
Cool. All right, y'all. Till next time. Peace and love.